Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios. I'm your StockMiner Brian Johnson, and welcome to the first day of the new trading week. Options expiration is over. We have started the new week. We were up today, go figure. Everything is still what? Neutral to bullish. That is correct. Good for you guys. And we continue to ride this thing upwards. I was certainly not afraid to take a little bit of a long position during the day, and did not stay in it, of course, overnight. But still, an opportunity to make some money, guys. The markets aren't going to move all that often. Today we got 8-9 points in the S&P, about 80 or so in the Dow. Nasdaq lagging a bit today, up only about 0.5%, but that's okay. The monster has been strong anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. Led pretty much by financials today. Not uncommon to see that if financials were lagging for a little while, but seems like sentiment has changed for at least a day, regardless of what the foreclosure news is or whatever else news is out there. It doesn't make any difference right now. The markets are bullish, so stay with the trend, guys. Stay with it. Okay. Looking at the 60, we are back up to closing at the big blue line that we've been watching for a little while now. Call this big old Papa Smurf, I guess, for the time being. We've broken above it once, only to come back down. Today we came back up to the blue line, and look what else we did. Right at or around that same area. So in kind of a potential double topping area here. Won't really know. Gotta wait till we see some moves back below these 11,000 marks here, guys. That's really what we want to watch for. Once again, levels haven't really changed back above this level here. Not a bad place to look to get long if you'd like to, and or back below about 11,000 for the more aggressive. Obviously waiting back below 10,875 for the more conservative on the short side of things. You can see from the daily continuing to push itself upwards one small step at a time. However, it's still upwards. We had the move up last couple days of last week were sideways, but today we got that little tiny push up. I just can't help but eye the 11,200 mark. So watch your 11,200 to 11,250 coming into the middle of the week for your overhead resistance areas. NASDAQ, as you can see, doing just fine. Pushing upwards, nothing too grand or spectacular today, but yet slowly grinding its way upwards. This is the NDX 100, so we'll see. Wait and see what happens with Apple over the next day or two. If that has any bearing on things, then I think Amazon also reports on the 21st. More good earnings to be watching, and then we'll see once the big dogs are out of the way. Let's wait and see what the markets decide to do after that. Here we have the daily on the NASDAQ. I backed that up so we could see some of this overhead area that we're coming into. That's going to be up around that 2150-ish area or so. That is not that far away. If we just continue to grind our way upwards, certainly can reach that. Maybe about the time, similar to the time that we hit 11,200 or 11,250 in the Dow. It all could coincide with one big climactic top. From a weekly perspective, too, 2104 at this point to start the week. So you can see we really didn't go anywhere. We had a low of 2091, high of 2105. That was about it for the day. Not a major move, but allowing you to make a couple extra pennies if you like to play the NASDAQ or have been playing the Qs by any means. But for Monday, we're not going to talk too much about the weeklies. It's one day into it. SPX on a 60 also back up and above the blue line, unlike what we saw with the Dow. You can see here how we came back below, flirting with it. Now we're back above, pushing that upper end again. Notice how 1184.71, 1184.38. So you can see us slowly trying to make our way back up and above this area. No reason to think that we can't push a little bit higher, maybe into this 1190 to 1200 area. A white candle today pushing us up and above where we were. Decent volume. Well, we don't really have the volume yet, but I think the volume was just okay in terms of bears to bulls, but the bulls were still firmly in control. So you can see the little push up here that we're having, looking for that move into the 1190-ish area from a weekly here. This is what we're really keeping an eye on. the 1195, 1196. What is it now? 1195.39. So there you have it. Watch that 1195 area as your more major level of overhead resistance when and if we get up to that during this week. That's the big weekly mark. The VIX as well dropped. At one point, it was up pretty considerably today. Maybe a good, 3%, I think, at one point, but obviously not making it into the end of the day as it bled out from the start. And you can see we are still holding the falling wedge. And as long as it stays in there, no reason to think that we can't continue to bounce within these two blue lines heading further into it. It is the weekly. You can see we're down for the week, but only because we gapped up and moved down. It's only Monday. Won't worry too much about that. Apple on a 60 continuing its trounce to the upside, up $3.26. Got the push up towards $3.19. Matter of fact, $3.19 to the penny. Pulling back then to kind of fill this gap that it had left and then move back up once more. You can see nobody wants to get overly bearish on Apple coming into earnings for good reason. Apple very infrequently misses earnings. They like to come in, they like to actually be pretty conservative with their earnings ideas. And that is why most typically they meet or beat earnings. So not uncommon to see people buying this up into Apple earnings. From a daily, you can see putting in nice little topping candle here. That does not mean it has to move down, does not mean it has to crash. You must be very careful with this kind of a play because the trend up here is still strong within Apple. From a weekly, it's only Monday. You can see what we've done, where we've come. Really, guys, it's all about earnings. Let's wait and see what happens with Apple's after earnings, and then we'll start to talk about the future moves. FAS was up $1.20 today. Huge move in the banks today. All right. Now that we're starting to break above these areas here, I can start to talk about long plays again. I do like it up and over the 2275 or the 23 area, really. Let it get above 23 before you look to go long. That should be a pretty, I would think, pretty reasonable play right back into the 23.40-ish mark and or $24 after that. Here you can see what we were working on was this lower level, 21.25 or $21 for a short. Never made it. That bank got really strong today and came screaming back up. So watching it here now, you can see where we have pushed back up, 22.71 here. Looking for that push over 23. Nice big white candle. Look at this choppy action. Please stay out of it from a swing trader's perspective. Day trading is what you need to be doing on these particular indices right now. And FAZ then now, while it had this nice push up, not able to get back up and over this area, hence not giving us any kind of a long entry. Looking back now at what? Another potential short. Yes, so back below all of these areas might give you your short opportunities. More aggressive below 1225. I don't know how much you can squeeze out of that, but that might be the place to start looking for your entries there. From the daily here, you can see as well, holding within this little falling wedge that we have drawn in here yet. I'd like to see it test one more time down here just to make sure that the line is valid. But as it is right now, we do have some support that we're coming into. So be careful of your trades, especially if you're going to try to hold these things overnight. I just would not recommend that at this point. Intraday only. Intraday only. Okay, guys, it is getting a little bit more volatile in the markets. There are some more major moves coming up. If this is stuff that you like, if you love to trade, if you enjoy trading, then let me remind you to please, please, please look into the mentoring class. Well worth your time, well worth your money. It's an all-inclusive class. I move at your pace. It's just you and me, one-on-one. No better way to learn, period, than just flat-out one-on-one experience with a trader. And let me teach you what you need to know to prepare yourself for the next major move in the market so that you're not caught wondering, well, why didn't I see that coming? Make sure you know when to get in and when to get out. It'll more than pay for itself down the road. And then I'll be back with you again, as always, tomorrow night.